Speaking of SNL, I'm going on a side note, and this annoys me.
Oh man,
The people
Nick never goes on tangents.
I know. You are listening to Chicagoland's finest podcast. The all-new Culture Cast begins now. I'm Nick.
I'm Jen.
I'm Cousin Charles.
And this is the all-new Culture Cast, back again for another episode. Gorehound will be here. He's having some technical issues, so we'll bring him on when he can be on. And Jen, it's nice to have you back. It's been a while since you've graced us with your presence. At least it feels like it's been a while. I don't know if that's for sure true.
Well, I'm here now.
And that's we're all excited on that one. Cousin Charles? Oh.
He is back.
And we have a Gorehound. Awesome.
Yeah, Peter crashed.
So, all right, we just started a moment ago, so I'm doing our hellos and everything.
Then in that case, I am the Gorehound.
Nice.
We'll fix it in post.
We are in 2019. We're chugging along here, and today we got a very special episode, because they're all special episodes, in which we're going to talk about McDonald's. Delicious McDonald's is, especially how much Gorehound and Jen love McDonald's and eat it on a daily basis. Am I correct in that assumption?
I sometimes go to McDonald's. Their coffee is surprisingly fast.
Well, I've not been to a McDonald's since I was like 15.
And I got their hash browns a few months ago.
They do make tasty hash browns, especially if you get it fresh.
Yeah, just full of grease and
yeah, this is the worst thing you could possibly eat. But man, oh man, is it tasty?
Yeah.
But more specifically, we're going to be talking about the 2017 movie, The Founder.
16.
Was it 16? I thought it was 17.
No. It premiered in I think it first premiered in December 7th, 2016. I have the Wikipedia page pulled up, but I think it got a wider release in 7.
So it was one of those Oscar movies, or attempted Oscar movies, where they released it before the end of the year.
Earlier than that, if you're going to go for an Oscar, but
well, you get a lot of the Oscar bait movies. Like the early releases are in December, so it can be included, and then they do the wide release in like January. But
I thought it was a recent movie.
I still think that's fairly recent. Although,
well, like released last year or something, like 2018. But
time can't follow time anymore. I really can't.
Honestly, yeah.
Guys, it's 2019. Do you even know?
Why are we in the middle of February 2019 already? Where did the last month and a half go?
I don't know. That's how I felt about all of 2018.
Yeah. So anyway, let's as we got a full crew here, so let's get rolling here. Let's get to our first segment. What have you been watching?
What have you been watching?
And Jen, why don't you kick us off since you haven't been here for a little bit?
So I'm deep in my Oscar death race.
Who saw that one coming?
Of course. So actually, I'm very, very late to the game. And when I went to go record this podcast, I was in the process of watching Avengers Infinity Wars, which is up for, I believe, Best
good
Visual
for you.
Effects.
I'm proud of you coming around.
Yeah, I'm so far behind on Marvel because at some point I just sort of burned out on them.
Oh,
I see Black Panther. I saw Black Panther. I saw Ant-Man 2 because someone invited me to it, and I cannot turn down a social invitation. But other than that, I'm pretty far behind. So far, it seems like a lot of, like when you've got a show that's coming up on a big finale, and it's like a very intensive, plot-heavy sort of show, and then there's an episode, kind of a table-setting episode where they're like, we're getting everything into place, trust us, next week's gonna be great, like, don't even worry about it. And that is what I'm feeling like this entire movie is. They're just like setting up what's going to happen.
My description of Avengers Infinity War is it's the cinematic equivalent of a 5-year-old dumping out all of his action figures and just mashing them together for 3.5 hours.
I do that, very easily.
It's brilliant.
So I'm sorry, Jen. So I'm sorry, Jen. You were saying?
Oh, it just goes on and on. Has anything interesting happened? No. Am I really getting all the pairings that I hoped? Like all the really interesting like I feel like they've developed a lot of really interesting characters, except Thanos, and
Ooh.
they should be putting them in interesting combinations, but somehow they're not. And yeah, so anyway, I still have an hour to go on the movie, but hopefully something will happen.
That's a hot take.
Yeah, like we're all. I'm guessing the rest of us have seen Avengers: Infinity War. Is that a fair assessment?
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
It's like we all got quiet because we don't want to say anything that may anything for you. So we'll for the sake of Jen and her viewing experience, let's move on. Is there anything else you've been watching?
Let's see. That's the most recent. But there's a whole list of movies out there. If you're interested in seeing Oscar bait, and just go ahead and tweet us at whatever our Twitter is, and let me know.
Jen, I would like to, when the Oscars come out, have a Oscar follow-up and see what your thoughts are on the winners, and to see if you agree or disagree, at least of the major categories. Maybe not necessarily, best boy award. I don't know, the obscure ones that no one cares about. But
Who's been a good boy?
I want to know what everyone's thoughts is on the best foreign short Oscar.
There is no foreign short Oscar, but
there should
we will
be.
definitely talk about best shorts and best foreign.
I honestly thought there was. I did not realize.
There's a category for everything. How can that not be?
The best
There's only
shorts.
24, guys. The ceremony just makes you think there's 1,000.
The best shorts are the Daisy Dukes I'm wearing right now.
Heyo.
So, well, thank you for all that, Jen. Good to catch up there. Cuz, what about you? What have you been watching?
In a little bit of a true crime kick. So two of the kind of highlights from that is I don't know if you can kind of tell from my voice, but I'm kind of getting over a little bit of a cold. So I was off. So I was off of work one day this week, and Megan was home because of the weather, because it was like icing and storming, all that good fun stuff here in Missouri. So we binged through a show that I'm surprised doesn't have more seasons, considering like who makes it. The American Crime Story series, which is like it's made by the same people who do like American Horror Story. But they've only done the 2 seasons. The first one was O.J. Simpson, and then we binged through the second season, which was about the assassination of Gianni Versace, which was pretty good. I mean, it was about 9 hours of television that we pretty much binged through a whole day. So,
did you love it? That's on my to-do list, definitely.
I enjoyed it. It's definitely it's interesting to do. I won't go into too much spoilers, but the way that they present the facts or the things that go on in this whole case, it's very much like, it's very much kind of like it's sort of backwards, if that makes any sense. So everything kind of has like a sense of dread because you sort of will know what's coming, where everything's going to lead because you've seen what happens to it. But it's good. I'm surprised they haven't made more, because I think the first season came out in 2016, and this one came out in 2018, I believe. Because I like my based on a true story, because I go like, okay, how much of this is real? How much of this is made up for the cameras? But it was good. And then last night we watched another. This one was a documentary, which I had heard some things about. And then after watching it, I kind of agree with the sentiments. It was called Abducted in Plain Sight, which is...
is that on Netflix?
That one is on Netflix.
I think the Kiwi was watching that one.
Yeah, no, it's messed up. It's kind of messed. It's one of those ones that makes you you need to watch something on fluffy afterwards, because it's not a happy tale. But it's good.
That's the one where the guy becomes friends with the family, and then one day they decide, the daughter goes with the guy to get something at the store. They disappear, and the mother didn't want to call the cops right away. Because they didn't think he would take them or something. I probably got.
Yes,
I probably have some of my details wrong, but
it's a little bit. But you had the general Jedi, Robert. Oh, I can't remember the last name. I remember they just called him B in the movie, but essentially he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna be your fun neighbor. I'm your fun neighbor." It's like everything's going well until all of a sudden it isn't, because it turns out he got a file, and he does some really crazy shit with the family to kind of play them against each other. Like I really don't want to give it away because again, I don't really want to give away too many details because again, the stuff that happens to these people is really messed up, and it's like there's no way that happened. But yeah, no, it's really good. It's very like I said, it definitely makes you kind of think a little bit because it's a very kind of, I don't know, it just kind of gets to you because it's just like a lot of the true kind of things, usually somebody dies. I'll give one spoiler: nobody's dead. There's not the and then they found their body like that, but the stuff that happens along the way, pretty messed up stuff.
very cool. Moving along, Gorehound, what about you? What have you been watching?
I haven't been watching anything. I did want to mention that I'm intentionally becoming a fan of the band Weezer this year. So I'm trying to.
Why would you want to do such a thing like that?
I never listened to them before, and so it's one of those alternative rock bands. I'm like, I've never listened to them. So that was kind of one of my New Year's resolutions to engulf myself into the Weezer discography. So I've been listening to all of their albums, so far this year. I want to say like I'm a Weezer fan. So yeah, that's it.
Huh.
Well, hashtag life goals, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, keep them.
As for me, haven't been watching a whole lot of, at least in terms of movies, keeping up with the few TV shows that I do like to watch. The Kiwi and I, we started watching on a more regular basis. There's a local news personality, Pat Tomasulo, who's on BGN. He does the sports. He has a late night comedy show on Saturday nights, which it's very stupid, but it's like knowingly stupid. Like it's one of those he's in on the joke, kind of corny. But we've started watching it and enjoying it for what it's worth. Especially when he does his like.
I mean, you're still keeping up with SNL, right?
I watch like the clips the following day on SNL.
You don't watch them live?
No, I've been Saturday night YouTube.
We've been trying to watch it live, and it's difficult to stay up late.
Because you're old now.
Yeah, dude.
Mine.
So let's Gorehound, do you have a man crush?
I'm busy. No,
And?
I don't.
I'm disappointed.
I'm disappointed too.
Like,
I want a man crush.
How
I
come
don't.
Nick Offerman's not your man crush this week?
He was great in this movie, but grow a mustache, bro.
What about Michael Keaton?
Oh, he is
AKA
filthy
AKA
in this
Michael,
movie.
Mr. Mom. All right, so no man crush. So that's this.
Yeah.
So we're
all disappointed.
So let's move on to our topic du jour, The Founder, which chronicles the origins of the mega brand McDonald's.
Well, it doesn't chronicle McDonald's. It chronicles Ray Kroc.
Well, true. How McDonald's became a nationwide franchise under the guidance of Ray Kroc, and I use the term guidance very loosely. So let's start off. Jen, what were your initial thoughts when you saw The Founder?
Okay, that was fine. It was, so, I guess my problem with The Founder, I mean, look, do I think movie, could you put it on and watch it, and then at the end of it, you could make popcorn, you could watch a different movie, you could
go out to McDonald's,
movie, whatever you need to do at the end of the movie, but at the end of the day, I didn't feel like it quite had enough to really stick.
So
it was fine.
You thought it was just kind of like competent but forgettable? Would that be a...
The problem... Okay, so here's... Let me break it down. I think part of the problem is that it's not quite willing to... It feels a little too sanitized. It feels a little bit too much like McDonald's Corporation itself somehow approved the movie. Like, he's a villain, and he's a bad guy, but he's not...
I did not get the impression that this was in any positive light for McDonald's.
You don't think? I mean, he has an affair. He's definitely a jerk, but it just doesn't quite. I don't quite see. So I guess my overall problem with it was, to me, I felt a little bit like, okay, this is a horror movie, right? Like they. But we're talking about, at the end of the movie, there's, they have, okay, here's what this person went on to do. And of course, because the only characters developed were the McDonald's brothers and Ray, they're like pointing to some, they're like, look at this guy. He went on to be the whatever. And I was like, I don't remember that guy from the movie.
I don't know. The wife was also pretty well developed, I think.
You're wrong, but anyway,
Are you talking about, like, Ray Kroc's wife?
What happened to her?
Yeah, Ray Kroc's wife.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't even tell you what happens to her. But anyway, the long and the short of it is, at the end of the movie, they say, McDonald's feeds 1% of the Earth's population every day. And, like, that's horrific. Like, the fact that they're going from reusable options to disposable everything. The fact that, it changes people's diets, it's changed the way the entire planet has eaten. To me, that's a horror movie. But it just doesn't critique any of that. It doesn't bring up, like, kind of the dark side of it, except insofar as we destroyed these two brothers in California. But other than that, you don't really see what the downside to McDonald's is. And I think that was a really lost opportunity.
I'm going to counter that just slightly. I'm saying what you're talking about shouldn't be discussed in a film. And I guess in a way, after I watched this, Kiwi was really pushing for me to read the book Fast Food Nation, which I guess goes into kind of what you're talking about. Actually, just today I picked it up on audio because Lord knows I don't have time to read something like that, but on my travels to work, I could definitely listen to it.
You still use audio tape.
Well, audio CD. Anyway, the movie wasn't about that, though. Like, if they started bringing that in, it'd be very late in the game, and it would change focus on the story of Ray Kroc and how he essentially stole this business from these two brothers who developed something, at the time, revolutionary.
Right, and I agree. So I agree with you. Like, yes, that was not the movie they were trying to tell, but I think that was a more interesting movie than just the personal drama between three dudes in the face.
Okay.
Because it impacts us in a way that, ultimately, if the McDonald's brothers got credit, or if Ray Kroc did, or whatever, it doesn't really affect what happens to me, but the fact that, like, if you go to Timbuktu and get off an airplane, you're going to see a McDonald's the minute you get off the plane, that affects people. Like, that's what's the interesting story.
So you were pretty much looking for a different kind of movie out of this, or hoping for something more?
I think biopics are never very good. I think this one is not reflective enough. I felt like, I think it was a competently told drama, right? Like, I think it was a competent drama. I watched it and I was like, yes, that is a movie. I have watched this movie. I now know a little bit more about the history of McDonald's. But I don't feel like they made that they really argued the point that this was an interesting story worth telling, which is, I think, the point of movies.
I do wonder how much this was public knowledge to begin with. Like, unless you were, like, digging into, like, I want to know about McDonald's history.
Some of it is that I did actually look up on the website, the McDonald's website. They have the history of McDonald's. So the page called, Ray Kroc and the McDonald's brothers.
How sanitized is that, I wonder?
I mean, they don't use the word, like, screwed royally, but...
Yeah.
Stole from underneath their nose.
Some basics are on there.
Okay. One thing I want to mention, because you brought this up, how you felt like the movie might have been endorsed, or somehow the McDonald's Corporation was involved with telling the story.
I don't think it was.
It wasn't.
Let me just...
As far as I know, it wasn't, other than maybe they gave their rights to show their logos. But what's interesting is that the guy who directed this film, what's his name? Let me look that up really. John Lee Hancock Jr. The movie he directed just previous to this was the Disney film Saving Mr. Banks, which told the story of Walt Disney trying to obtain P.L. Travers' Mary Poppins character. And that movie, rightfully so, was lambasted for being very sanitized by Disney. Um, they tried to pretend like, no, we're going to tell the whole story, warts and all, but the movie ended it with P.L. Travers being content with the Mary Poppins movie, which could not have been further from the truth.
No, she hated it. She absolutely... Like, I think she cried leaving the theater.
Right, and they show that in the Saving Mr. Banks movie, her crying, but they contextualize it differently because she was crying because, it reminded her of her father and brought all the emotion from that and her reconnecting with her childhood emotions, and so like horribly manipulated the events on what that was about. So it's just interesting you make that comment, Jen, and how it relates to the director, particularly with his previous movie. So I do wonder whether a conscious or unconscious to downplay the evils, as it were, of the McDonald's corporation overall. So this is an interesting comment you made. But Cuz, what were your thoughts on the movie?
Yeah. So here's what my thoughts. So I actually, so with the founder, I actually saw this movie originally. I think before we decided to do this episode, I actually saw it before. Just as I was like, I remember hearing about this. Let's watch. I think we just watched it like one Saturday, like maybe a couple of months back. And I actually knew about the story going in because I don't think it was the same book, but in high school we had to read a book called this, which is very much like, I don't know who wrote it, but it was very much like, hey, you know that movie Super Size Me? Here's a version of that same premise for high schoolers. And it essentially told the story. I kind of had a little bit of an idea of, what the whole scenario was. So there wasn't like the whole, he did what? Kind of going into it. Like, I kind of knew the basic gist of like, okay, he stole McDonald's away from the McDonald's brothers and basically made more money than God. It is kind of I will kind of agree with Jen, it is kind of a weird movie to make a story out of. Like, hey, let's talk about the founding of McDonald's. It's like, well, okay, I mean, it's like one of those things like, did we need to have a story telling the founding of McDonald's? I mean, I suppose there is some, again, the big thing is that the guy who essentially made McDonald's wasn't, one of the brothers. It was a guy who basically just stole it away from him.
Well, I mean, I didn't know anything about the origins of McDonald's. I thought it was just, the first displayed location. I didn't realize that it was stolen away from, a completely genuine idea out on the West Coast.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting. I thought kind of widely known.
No, I mean, I had no idea. I legitimately thought that it was just like a local Illinois business that became, 100% profitable. And then in that leading me to believe like this is a sound local business that was just like completely successful. But this like turned my entire idea of McDonald's, 100% like dissatisfied.
So you're not. So what you're selling me, Gorehound, is you're loving it.
That's a good assumption.
But I mean, I also kind of have to agree with Jen a lot. I mean, it's a good movie. It's definitely very much an Oscar baity movie because it's just like, I'll be honest. After I watched it, I was like, I really am probably not going to be like, gee, I'm bored. I'm going to go rewatch The Founder. Like, it's not changing the face of cinema. It's a good little movie. It definitely is like, I think, because I think in 2014, isn't that when Michael Keaton won Birdman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this was him. I think this was like, hey, why don't you try? I'm going to try to get me another Oscar. What wins Oscars? Biopics. The one thing I will say I liked is that they definitely. I don't know how much say the McDonald's Corporation or the CEOs had in terms of like, oh, you can't show that. Oh, we can't talk about this. Had in the movie, because I will agree, it kind of dipped its toes into like, the murky subject of like, hey, the guy who made this company basically, screwed over some like genuine business people. But the movie tries to paint it more as, well, what would you do if you're in that situation? You see $1 million, wouldn't you take advantage of it? It tries to play it off as, this is something everybody would do if they were in that position. Not just like, hey, I'm a greedy businessman. I'm going to, basically screw people out of their livelihood just because of money. So that, I don't know, and I think a lot of that does ride on Michael Keaton's performance, which, again, it's Michael Keaton. He's one of probably the best actors of any of our generation. So he's good at what he does.
Just to clarify, I have no problem with the performance. I think his performance is very good. I just don't know that there's enough there.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's one of those things I will say, kind of after rewatching it. Like, the beginning makes it seem like this might be a weird analogy. I made this the cold medicine kicking in, but it's almost kind of like before he gets to the McDonald's location, it's almost like an infomercial where it's like the people are like, where it's like you see people like, are you tired of this happening to you? Where it's like he's at the drive-thru and they're like not getting his order. He's like waiting there in the car. He's like, there's got to be a better way. And then he like eats like the proto Big Mac or whatever the hell he's eating. He's like, I found it. Kind of like one of those things, like as if this is like a revolutionary, game-changing moment of, hey, are you sick and tired of car hops? How about a greasy, $2 sandwich? But I don't know.
Sandwich.
Yeah.
So, all right, Gorehound, what about you? What are your thoughts on the movie? Because I get the impression when I suggested this, you were not looking forward to watching this movie.
The only reason I watched this was because you wanted me to. I don't really watch a lot of documentaries. Like, I'll sometimes pop on like a Planet Earth or something, but these are intriguing. It's just I'm not led to them. But I mean, I watched this one, and for the first 20 minutes, like I wanted him to succeed, and I wanted to see him happy. But then halfway through, I was like, I 100% hate this guy. I hate McDonald's. I am never going to purchase anything from them again. Because I wasn't really seeing this as a movie. I was seeing this as a documentary, as in, this is what I need to know about. This is what the director is trying to get the point across. And I'm receiving it that, he stole this idea. He had the opportunity to give the genuine idea some credit, but he decided to take it all for himself because he's a selfish prick. So, I mean, I was yelling at the end of this movie. I mean, I hated this guy so much. I'm not really sure I can offer any review of it as a movie. I mean, I thought it was a great, as Jen said, biopic. I'm not even sure what that word means, but it sounds legit. And yeah.
So I feel like we have a lot of discontent between us. So basically, Gorehound, it's tough for you to review this because you're so taken in by what was happening in the movie.
Yeah. Because I mean, I was furious with them. I don't like, as soon as you see somebody being put down, I'm like, I kind of forget that it's a movie, and I'm like, dude, he is destroying the lives of two people who were doing just fine before this dickwad came around. And then the whole thing with his wife, and I'm like, geez, like she supported him through all of this, and then just like nothing.
I really enjoyed this film, and maybe I'm a little biased in that regards because I have had
I've eaten McDonald's quite a few times.
I'm not gonna lie. The day after this, I'm like, I can kind of go for a Big Mac, but I've been fascinated with McDonald's history for years. I don't know why, but I just think it's just like it's a part of America, and I'm just interested in the different types of sandwiches, promotional drives they've done, different products, and subsequently the history. Like I always knew that Ray Kroc essentially stole McDonald's from the original McDonald's brothers, but I didn't know necessarily the full-on details. So I was really engrossed in the story. I later learned they did change some things from the movie. Like when he left his first wife, he actually got married to someone else in between him marrying the franchisee, the wife of the franchisee.
Yeah.
And in fact, the movie kind of plays that up differently. They met the way they made it sound like in the movie, but apparently they didn't really re-meet until about like 15, 16 years later, when presumably either the affair or I don't know, he was divorced at the time, had started up. So like they kind of like changed that, but anytime you have a biopic, they're always going to change things for better dramatic effect. So I mean, there's that.
Sure.
Cuz we about to say something?
No, I just was making an ooh sound because I did not know.
Ooh,
What is I mean, first of all, I was impressed with the story of how the McDonald's brothers created their fast food method, which obviously the way McDonald's is now is probably completely different. But at that time, it was just fascinating how they like really put a lot of effort into creating this thing.
Mhm.
And how I was also fascinated how even though Kroc eventually destroyed, or not destroyed, well destroyed, but took this business from them, how he was still loyal to their vision, at least to a certain extent when he started wanting to do things here and there, like having the fake milkshake stuff and so on. But like how he'd franchise it out to his rich friends, but they would still we're serving barbecue chicken and things like that before he settled on get like middle class people to run it because they'll do it exactly the way you want it to be profitable. And I was talking with the Kiwi, and we were kind of wondering if the McDonald brothers were willing to renegotiate the deal with Ray Kroc, because Ray wasn't making any money on it until he found the loophole in the real estate thing. If he would not have stole the business from them. Because he was putting a lot of work and effort into it, and he wasn't getting really squat from it. He was going to be broke. Like that whole like dynamic was just fascinating, especially how he seemed kind of clueless. How the McDonald's did not like him and were screwing them over because he like one of them goes in the hospital and he visits them with the flowers, and the reason he was in the hospital was because of what Ray Kroc was doing, and he was like a clue.
Yeah, people like that should not be successful. Like he is just straight up evil.
He definitely has sociopathic tendencies.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Jen, I agree with you how Ethel Kroc is kind of like a non-character in this movie.
Right.
I mean, I don't know what else you could have done with the character, but it's like she's just kind of like,
Nagging skulls.
No, I feel like she was in very few scenes, but the scenes that she was in were sufficient to give her a basis. We see where she is,
Yep.
we see how she progresses through this, and we see how she is affected by his actions.
But you really don't know much about her. Like, is she just a housewife? Does she have a side job herself? Like, was she just trying to be a socialite? Like, we don't really. She's very blank in terms of personality.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think I can understand what her position is in terms of, like, you kind of feel like, okay, I understand something of this woman and what she would have been going through. But you're not, I think a lot of that is just because it's Laura Dern and she's like a recognizable face. But if she hadn't been Laura Dern, I don't know if I would have found her, I don't know that I'd even be able to like conjure her up in my mind, except that she was played by somebody who I already like. Mm-hmm. That's not to say, I mean, I don't know anything about the real woman or what their relationship was like. I don't think it came off as a sort of realistic, that he's a dreamer and she's would prefer to not reach the stars. And, that all kind of made sense to me, but I don't know that I feel like that was because they gave her so much to work with. I think that was more just, that's a recognizable archetype in movies. I saw this movie described as like Wolf of Wall Street light, and I felt like,
when Ray Kroc's like, I want a divorce, I really felt nothing because we saw that coming. But
just the heartlessness that he said it was just like awful.
It was very offhanded, like they're just having a random conversation, like, oh yeah, I bumped into Bob at the post office. He was a great guy. Oh, by the way, let's get divorced. Can you pass the salt? It was very heartless, but like I felt like I didn't really feel her pain so much because she didn't really leave much of a mark in me other than the bare minimum of what her role was required to do.
And I think that's maybe kind of the point. Like, I think the movie's trying to put you through, maybe like my wife's bored. We don't have a relationship. Here's someone who, in the eyes of the movie, it's like, well, there's someone else out there who I feel I have much more chemistry with, or something like that.
also a dream. on some level, or at least an idea person.
Right. Yeah, someone who's
You
on
can
the
get
same
it.
page. Or exactly.
Yeah, because she gave the idea of the
Shakes.
shakes. Yeah.
The horrifying powdered shakes.
Yes, which apparently McDonald's no longer does that, according to the text of the movie.
Allegedly.
And if you can't believe text in movies, then what can you believe? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe also there's a part of me that's has a not a fondness, I guess, but has a an affection for McDonald's. Is that I grew up in Des Plaines, so like our town history has that sort of we're the first McDonald's, which for better or worse was torn down last year, which was
Yes.
very sad because
Yeah, I thought the original one was still open as a museum.
well, that's the original one they tore down. Here we get trivia for it. When the original McDonald's was up and running for years, and after a while it got old, and they actually have an actual McDonald's location that's across the street, but they kept the old one up and redecorated it in the style of the 1950s, and you can go in there to a museum. You could tour it. You can go downstairs in the basement where they would store things. And I remember going there when I was like a little kid with my dad. We went in the museum part, and it was really interesting. About 10 or so years, maybe a little longer, apparently there was some flooding, and it became hazardous to actually go in there.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
God.
And but they kept it up as a tourist attraction. But I guess the city of Display, I think, owns it. They felt that keeping it up wasn't profitable, so they were going to sell the land and subsequently tear down the McDonald's. But the Kiwi and I made sure to go the last time just to check it out before it got torn down. And of course, other people were there as well. So
Yeah.
I don't know why they're tearing it down. They're tearing down our history. They want to erase history.
Can I just say that that Thor knew we were watching this movie, and he was like, "Hey, guess what? Guess what? Guess what? The first McDonald's was in Des Plaines, Illinois." And I was like, "I'm from here. I know that." He was very excited as somebody who was born on the East Coast to tell me.
It's too bad he didn't say that to me. He'd be like, "Yes, I lived in the town it was built."
Yeah.
Then drop the mic.
Today I also had to. Today I mentioned something about Portillo's having a heart-shaped chocolate cake for Valentine's Day, and he was like, "No, you're thinking of Giordano's Pizza," and I was like, "I would."
God.
It's like don't like a lot of places do heart-shaped things for Valentine's Day. Isn't that like a staple?
It is, but it's also like, dude, I've lived here. I know it's going to be heart-shaped for the Chicago.
Like, did you
Yeah,
know?
because you can get a whole bunch of heart-shaped pizzas also.
We can get a lot of heart-shaped everything.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Get heart-shaped
Capitalism.
hearts. Yeah. Hey,
But
did you
not
know?
heart-shaped McDonald's burgers.
Yeah. Waiting
Not-
for that.
Oh, they should do that. I meant to check to see if they still put 2 pickles only on their burgers. Go get a McDonald's hamburger and tell me if they have the 2 pickles on it.
No, I mean, I think I have a pretty good anti-McDonald's agenda from here on out. We don't shop at Walmart unless medically necessary, and McDonald's I think is pretty well off the menu from here on out. So what else do we got going on?
So, like, one thing that I kept thinking about while I was watching this movie is, and I'd just be curious. So obviously, Gorehound and I both are vegetarians, but curious from like a meat eating perspective, do you guys feel that overall the proliferation of not necessarily of McDonald's, but of the concept of the fast food, are there positives? What good things has that brought to the world?
The Happy Meal.
Yeah.
Sure.
I honestly don't care one way or another. Maybe I'm too. I don't know. I have the energy, but
My heart is filled. My heart has documented all the many Big Macs, Whoppers, whatever the hell Wendy's serves, And I can say fast food definitely has made an impact in my life, my waistline.
I've seen the pictures online.
Just curious. So, did this movie affect your occurrences to McDonald's from here on out?
No.
No. Well, here's what I'll say. I will say the past couple times I've eaten McDonald's, where I'm thinking like, man, you know what I could go for? Maybe just McDonald's. Like, every time I've eaten McDonald's recently, I'm like, this tastes like absolute garbage. Like, I get like one of their chicken sandwiches or something, and I'm like, this just tastes awful. Like, and you shouldn't get that from fast food. Like, fast food should be like that addicting sort of thing where it's like, yes,
Hey,
you know, I
it's
know
not
like,
fast. It's good food quickly.
No, I honestly can't. I've probably haven't eaten McDonald's at least in about like maybe like a couple months.
By choice?
Sure.
Yeah.
It's just more like every time, like I don't know, like I've kind of fallen out a little bit of my exercise program for pre-wedding stuff, but even before that, like I'm trying to cut out some of the fast food. McDonald's was easy to cut out because I think I ate it once, like we were out late one night, just like, hey, let me get some McDonald's. And now I remember. I had to drive back. We were visiting Megan's in-laws up in Marceline, which is like an hour and a half from me. I had to go to work the next day. I think this was around like maybe Christmas time or something. So I had to come back home so that way I could go to work. And then, I'd come back and visit her for Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. I got McDonald's in between, just like, little late night dinner thing because I was like, I hadn't eaten dinner, and it was just awful. It was like just biting into it. I was like, this does not taste good. So, it's not necessarily. Yeah, it just, I don't know. It did. I guess that's one of the things the movie didn't really do for me. It didn't like glorify like the first time. Like, wouldn't it be great to eat those fries, that Big Mac? It didn't like make it sort of. I'm going to use like an advertiser, but it didn't like make it sexy to eat a Big Mac or anything. Just like. I don't know. It didn't make me hungry for McDonald's. Is the main thing I will say.
I'm not gonna lie. I eat at McDonald's. I don't make it a regular thing. I know sometimes it's a convenience factor. Like the Kiwi and I might be going someplace. We're like, listen, let's just get something quick. We'll run through the drive-through, which I know it's not good. So the key is just making sure you don't everything in moderation. Although I will say the one thing I do get at McDonald's more frequently than anything else is probably a Coke. Because I don't know what it is, but McDonald's Coke tastes amazing. I think it's because I think they use like real sugar.
Yeah, they have a McDonald's proprietary blend for McDonald's.
Okay, that must be what it is. It just tastes great, and I try to limit my soda intake just because. But like if I'm looking for like a soda when I'm out like doing chores amongst like going on that. You can't beat that. It's tasty. But this movie did not have any effect on me on that one. I am in the process going to start Food Nation, so check with me after I hear what they have to say, because I think that goes into more of what Jen you were talking about. We wish this movie kind of dealt with the ramifications of the fast food and how that would affect society at large.
Sure.
So. I don't know. Would you recommend this movie to people who?
Yes, yeah, hands down. Because like I said, I didn't know anything about the founder. I thought it was just a local business that came to success. But no, I think more people should hate McDonald's as much as I hate them.
See, I feel that's slightly unfair. That because
Why?
you hate. Okay, here. I'm not saying you should defend Ray Kroc because he was definitely a sloppy guy, and the reason he wanted to steal McDonald's was for the name, because it's what do you say? Like, the name is America. But like, is that like the sole reason you want to hate McDonald's?
The basis of it, I think, is the foundation of the business. Why was it founded? How was the rest of the entire corporation built? Is it built on a poor foundation, or is it built on a solid moral or ethical grounds?
Man, I guess my counter to that is I think if any corporation that's successful and out there today, they all have their skeletons in their closet about how they got to be. You don't get to be that big without.
Yeah,
I mean,
but this
look at Facebook, which I guess is a bad example because you just deleted your Facebook.
I mean, it's Facebook. They had a good foundation. He just wanted to start, some.
But he stole it from those two brothers.
Oh,
You should watch The Social Network.
Yeah.
I didn't care for it. Yeah, and I really didn't put much attention into it. This is why I don't do biopics, is because then I end up boycotting everything.
The moral lesson from Gorehound: don't buy anything. Don't buy anything. Boycott everything.
Honestly, because I delve into corporations, and what they are, and I don't like that. Facebook sharing user data, that's less of a crime, because if you go on to social media, you sell your soul to social media.
So that's like, to make an analogy, that's like saying, oh, that woman deserved to be raped because she was wearing the sexy dress.
No.
Well, you're blaming the user for the company from stealing the information.
Look, let's all agree that shitty behavior is just shitty behavior.
Yes.
No matter who or what is doing it. I mean, definitely, it's definitely one of those things where it's like, where I don't think there's ever like a really wholesome company that hasn't really screwed anybody over. Like, I would be surprised. I guess I would be more surprised if there was than if there wasn't.
Yes, there is no corporation or organization out there, but I think that you can also judge their crimes, as in.
You can also try a little.
Right, like, if somebody goes 5 miles over the speed limit, that's acceptable. But if they're going, 15, 20 over, that's, you can make a judgment on that.
Hey, look,
but that's also, subjective.
Look, Gorehound, I gotta get to work, so damn everyone else.
Hey, there ain't no limit on the shoulder.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Jen, would you recommend the movie to other people?
I feel like it is something that if you have a 2-hour flight, you can. There's some cool looking shots in it. It's it's an interesting story, but definitely not something that needs your full attention. If you had some laundry to fold, or maybe you're painting your
what
toenail.
biopic would you recommend?
Biopics are tough. I have to say, this is not quite as bad as a lot of them. A lot of times you'll have I can't even remember which one it was, but there was one year where there were 2 different Nelson Mandela biopics, and one of them got nominated for an Oscar, and I saw it, and it's like, a lot of times with biopics, what they try to do is they'll try to cover 60 years of a person's life, and they're not very good, because first of all, no one had an interesting childhood, but also, when you have focus, that can be really good. So if I was going to recommend a biopic, it would be the movie Selma, which focuses just on the Selma bus boycotts. I'm sorry, not the bus boycotts, on the March to Selma by Martin Luther King Jr. It focuses on like a tight 3-month period of his life. It assumes you already know that he, lived and died and all of that. And we're not going to focus on that. We're just going to focus on these 3 months, and therefore is a very good movie. But any type of biopic, and especially if somebody has to put on old man makeup or whatever, it's not going to, I just am probably not going to like it very much.
Jen, I agree with you 100%. Biopics can be tricky depending on A, who your subject is, and B, what the focus is. When you're doing a long period of time, it becomes unfocused, because in a movie, generally, you need to have your 3-act structure, you need to have a character arc of where a character is at the beginning, character is at the end. It's tough to do that over a long period of time.
Right. Over a lifetime. Yeah.
Not to say it can't be interesting, but doesn't necessarily make it into a focused film.
Right. It can be good for if what you're trying to do is teach a class of children, and you don't really need to work very hard. You just want to have it on and be like, okay, this will all be covered by the test. It's good. But if you're looking for a story, I agree. It's very hard to make a person's life adhere to a 3-act structure.
Right. Unless you are doing a specific time in their life that was critical. Like the movie Green Book, which just came out. I want to see it. Apparently it's filled with inaccuracies, but at least that seems to go over, here's a specific slice of life of what happened in these two people's lives. Here's the story we're going to tell. Or like Apollo 13, the story of that whole mission, because that just took place over a couple of days and a very specific story. It's not like they had like, we're going to do a movie on the whole Apollo program, because oh my god, there's no way you could condense that into like a 2-hour film.
This Green Book movie looks so boring.
But it has
I have no idea what it's about.
Ali. How do you say his name? I like that actor. I can't pronounce his name though.
Ursula Ali.
Yeah, I like him.
Cottonmouth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why did they kill him in the first half of Luke Cage? He was like
Spoiler.
Spoiler. Yeah.
He was like way more interesting than like the "oh god, beat up Luke Cage now" villain they brought in the second half of the season.
I thought the entire season was pretty kick-ass.
Well, I mean that's because Mike Coulter. Because
Coulter.
Mike Coulter is like awesome. He carried the show, but for villains, anyway, I digress again. Cuz really quick, because we're running long. Would you recommend this?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's one of those movies that's like it's really hard to like not recommend it because it's like it's a well-made movie. It's got good acting in it. It's just kind of one of those. It unfortunately suffers from that Oscar baitiness because it's like, do we really need a movie about how the McDonald's brothers were screwed out? I mean, it's sure they made a cinematic story. It's well made, but it's like there really isn't much to like. There isn't much where it's like I see this as like somebody's favorite movie of all time. You know what I mean? Like it's a good movie. I gotta agree with Jen's sentiment. It's like, yeah, if you need time to kill, if you really were interested, I'd say go check it out for some really great performances. But there really isn't anything that I would say, honestly, in like 10 years, I don't think anybody's going to be remembering this movie at all, except maybe when they're talking about like Michael Keaton's filmography. Because there really isn't anything, like super new that's trying to bring to the table. It's a very kind of by the numbers sort of biopic movie. I mean, the only thing I will say is that at least it tried its best to very much the story of they try to make like how, I don't know, I'm using this right, because I wanted to bring this point up before, where they were like, well, yeah, at the end of the day, Ray Kroc is a greedy businessman and screw people out, but we're going to try to take you along that journey and try to put you in his shoes, so that way you're kind of agreeing with the choices and the decisions he's making, which I think was probably the best way to do it, because otherwise people would be like, why would I want to watch the story of a guy who screwed other people out of like $1 billion idea?
I would recommend an asterisk and be like, hey, if you like Michael Keaton or you like sort of quirky dramas, or you want to know about...
Or if you just want your life filled with more hatred, watch this. And I mean, that's my third New Year's resolution, is to embrace hatred, so this like fit right in line with it.
I'm glad this movie can oblige. So
that's pretty good. Gorehound.
I do have some trivia.
It's trivia time.
It's fast food related trivia, but similar to what's going on here. So speaking of McDonald's, McDonald's probably main competitor is Burger King, and Gorehound, you might know a little about this, but so when Burger King was created, they started setting up franchises. But in Mattoon, Illinois, there was a restaurant called The Burger King.
Yeah, I saw that it's still there.
Yeah, it's still in business. It was created like a year before the franchise was created, and they wanted to sue the franchise for quote-unquote stealing their name, because as we all know, Burger King is such an original name, no one would ever come up with that on their own. That's sarcasm.
I don't know, I was going to go for the Burger Prince, but...
You could. The burger formerly known as Prince. But they sued the Burger King franchise, or going to. But then they came to a settlement. They said, all right, you can keep the name, but you cannot have a franchise location within like a 30-mile radius of where the Burger King is at. Which is why you see in Eastern Illinois University, which is in Charleston, next town over, has every other fast food franchise except for Burger King. I think the nearest one is either in Effingham or Champaign, depending on travel times, which is about 30-40 minutes south and north from where the Burger King is at. So I found that interesting because, in a way, when Ray Kroc was trying to do his McDonald's, they sued the original McDonald's place for copyright infringement, forcing them to change their name and subsequently forcing them out of business because they created a franchise McDonald's across the street. Gorehound, this is what I'm planning on doing with the podcast in the future, so I'm going to muscle you out by having by suing you, and I'll have a rival one that'll put your original one out of business. So you better watch it.
It's not very nice.
All new Culture Cast.
Yeah,
Two
right.
news in it.
So that's you better watch yourself.
All
any
right.
any final thoughts on anything, folks? We've been talking for a little bit here. It's
There we go.
it's quite a crock.
I'm wearing my Crocs right now.
I own 2 pairs. Actually, maybe I own 3 pairs of Crocs with the C.
What a crock.
We okay. Let's just end this thing. All right.
Or we could just keep on saying Crocs.
Croc puns. Jen, do you have any croc puns, or have you totally tuned us out by now?
No, I didn't think to make any crock puns. That's but that's on me.
All right. Let's close this bad boy out, as Gorehound likes to say. Thanks for listening. This is the All New Culture Cast. I'm Nick.
I'm the Gorehound.
I'm Jen.
I'm Cousin Charles.
And this has been the All New Culture Cast. We will see you next, maybe, perhaps, I don't know, with an all new episode. You've been listening to the All New Culture Cast, where every episode is all new. Check out new episodes and our back catalog at allnewculturecast.libsyn.com. We could also be found on iTunes. The All New Culture Cast, a saltwater production, copyright 2019. Thanks for listening.
But I am a social justice warrior, so...
Sure.
i.e. a libtard.